Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the PG Show, and we got to talk about this Alabama and Texas game. I am currently watching the game, and Alabama is down 19-7, and Bryce Young is what I think potentially about to lead the Crimson Tide to a score, whether that means a field goal or a touchdown. But man, this game has been crazy, y'all, and we have got to talk about it because I don't think any of us expected Texas to come in here and do what they have done today in terms of holding the Alabama offense to where they have held them almost all game up until, these last couple of drives. And then also for the Alabama defense to be making so many mistakes today, whether that's on the penalties or Will Anderson causing a ton of penalties. What did he have? 3 or 4? I can't remember. It's crazy. And for Will Anderson to finally have just gotten his first sack of the season, I expected him to get 4 or 5 sacks in this game alone. And so I think that this is a pretty big disappointment for Will Anderson in this game, especially knowing about all the talk that has came in about how this Texas offensive line was going to be inexperienced and everything else. This has got to be disappointing for Saban, the Alabama Crimson Tide, and Bryce Young and Will Anderson, because Bryce Young's kind of been running for his life today. This Texas defense is showing us something that we haven't seen from them in a long, long time. They're playing great defense. Looks like Bryce Young just overthrew his receiver. It's about 19 seconds left, but I want to go ahead and just break this down for a second. If Alabama loses this game, their record of 53 straight non-conference wins is out the door. Now, I don't know what the record was for unranked, because I can't remember if Texas A&M was ranked or not last year, but there's potentially some records that are going to be broken here today, depending on what happens in this last 19 seconds. And I say that because we've seen crazier things happen with LSU and Florida State last week, where a field goal was blocked. And so, yeah, I don't know, is there concern for the Alabama Crimson Tide? And here's why I bring that up. Offensive line didn't look too good in terms of protecting Bryce Young. I felt like your defensive line should have gotten at the Texas offensive line a little bit more than what they did. Will Anderson should have had a bigger day than what he has so far. Additionally, Quinn Ewers left the game in, the first quarter? You should have taken advantage of that when they put Hudson Card in the game. Hudson Card's a dang good quarterback, y'all. I don't know why you guys in the Texas community are so against Hudson Card and are so against Malik Murphy. I understand Quinn Ewers looked good at the time he was in there. He looked great. Let's pull up his stats because they just tried to ice the kicker here. So let's pull up the box score. Okay, Quinn Ewers went 9 of 12, 134 yards. I mean, he looked really good when he was in the game. But, I mean, come on, man. And then the rushing game for Texas, I mean, Bijan Robinson got 21 carries today. I mean, the Alabama defensive line just stopped the run, but still, I mean, Hudson Card got out on a few opportunities. All right, here we go. Alabama's kicking a field goal, 33-yard attempt. It's good. 20-19. So we'll see if Bama can do anything here in the last 10 seconds, whether that's, a run back on a kickoff or something. So Bama right now, 2019, 10 seconds left in the game. Looks like they've got this under wraps. But there's a lot of holes here. Alabama, where's your wide receivers? Jamar Gibbs really, I think, was the best thing that Alabama had going for them in the passing game. We didn't see much from Burton, who was supposed to be pretty good for this Alabama. Now, I am saying all of this to say I'm kind of going off basis for what we've seen from Texas since the national championship that they lost to Alabama, right? Not very good on defense. They have some explosive offenses here and there, but that's kind of what I'm going off of. And so I expect a little bit more out of this Bama team, and you never know. I might be saying that And Bama could have played the best ball they could. And, maybe Texas has extremely good defense this year in offense. Oh, they're showing Quinn Ewers, and it looks like his arm is in a sling now. So I'm sure we'll get an update on Quinn Ewers later in the week. I'm interested to see if it was an AC joint separation or something like that. I'm actually currently dealing with an AC joint separation in my shoulder, so I know that doesn't feel good, and so I'm wondering what's going to happen there. But let's talk to the Texas fans for a minute. Regardless of the outcome of this game in these last 10 seconds, I think there is a lot for you guys to build off in this game. You guys played Alabama, the number one team in the country, and gave them everything that they could have ever wanted in this game. And that's saying a lot, because you guys have had games where you guys have got close to LSU in their national championship season and everything, but I think there's just something brewing different down there with Steve Sarkisian, and you can definitely tell Gary Patterson has made a difference on this defense. The question is, can Texas put it together through the second half of the season? If I'm a Texas fan, that's the question I'm going to ask. After OU Texas, whatever the outcome of that game is, can you all put it together? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Because I would assume Sark's going to go in there and tell the players, listen, we expected to lose this game. And you guys lost by 1 point. There is a lot for us to build off of there. And so, okay, that's a wrap. 2019, that's the final. Anyways, so there's a lot for the Texas players to build off of and grow off of in this game. And there should be a lot of hype around this. Players should be looking at Texas in the 2023 recruiting class. They're seeing what Sark's building out there. I'm curious to see if Gary Patterson continues to stay on the staff or if he gets another position to be a head coach somewhere. But Alabama wins it 20-19. They have the 19th consecutive 2-0 start to a season. That's the longest active streak in the FBS. Additionally, that is a 54-game win streak against non-conference opponents. And this is pretty interesting because this is not something we see all the time with Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide going on the road in a true road game out of conference. It just doesn't happen very often. So Bryce Young's going to end the day 27-39 for 214 yards. Jace McCowan is going to have 6 carries for 97. Bryce Young had 7 carries for 38 yards. Jamar Gibbs, 9-22. But Jamar Gibbs was your leading receiver for 9 receptions for 74 yards. Again, you got Trayshawn Holden for 4 for 40 yards. And Ja'Cory Brooks, 3 for 33 yards. Cameron Latu, 4 for 28 yards. I would expect Nick Saban to work on this Alabama team over the next couple of weeks. Additionally, I would expect a change probably to happen with an offensive coordinator. We were talking about it in our group chat going back and forth, but some of the Bama fans in there were talking about how Bill O'Brien needs to go. And after watching this game, a game where you probably should have been able to do whatever you wanted on a Texas defense, I would expect Bill O'Brien to be fired. But Texas fans, even though you lost, man, you guys made this a game. And not even just a game, you guys as fans in that stadium made a difference. Because how many mistakes did the offensive line for Alabama make on a false start because of the crowd noise? You guys were loud. You guys were booming. I think there's a lot for you guys to build off of and be excited about for this team. Don't look at it as, oh, we lost to Bama, this sucks. No, look at it as, we lost to Bama by 1 point. Like, I don't even think you guys covered the spread in this game in terms of like the over-under. So take this as a building block. Be excited. And we'll see what Nick Saban is able to do with this Alabama offense and defense. And we'll see if Bill O'Brien is there maybe even in a couple weeks. So thank you all for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you guys thought about the outcome of this game.